Okay, let's begin. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the CXO meet of EMA Partners India Ltd. So firstly, on behalf of the company, let me thank you all for participating in this event. And secondly, let me also thank Mr. Sudarshan for giving us this opportunity and hosting them for this Valorem CXO meet. So as you all know, the Valorem CXO Meet is the first of its kind virtual analyst meet event series. And our intention with these virtual CXO meets is to take advantage of these technology platforms like this by reaching out to a wider audience and to create a better understanding and bring awareness about our client company's fundamental business, provide insights into their specific industry, financials, and future growth strategies. The format of this analyst meet will be primarily in a Q&A interview format, where I will start off by asking the management some broad level questions and then move on to questions from the participants. Please note that if you have a question to ask the management, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to post your questions, which I will ask on your behalf to the management. Please do not use the hand raise button instead. Now, before we begin, let me mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's meeting may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties, which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. Let me now introduce you to the management participating with us in today's meeting. We have with us Mr. K. Sudarshan. He's the managing director. Mr. Sudarshan holds a bachelor's degree in engineering from NIT Kurukshetra and has completed the owner-president management program at Harvard Business School. He has over 20 years of experience in executive search and leadership consulting across sectors such as IT, healthcare, BFSI, retail, and energy. As a founding member, he has been instrumental in shaping the company since inception and currently oversees its overall operations and strategic directions. He also leads EMA partners across India, Singapore, and Dubai. Now, without any further delay, let's begin. Good afternoon, Sudarshan ji.
Good afternoon, Anuj. Thank you for having me on this forum and our company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. So let's start with a broad-based question for some of the participants who are new to our company today. If you could start with just giving a little bit of a brief history and background about EMA Partners India and take us through its journey so far, that would be great.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. Just to give you a brief overview, I'm not going to take a long time. So the EMA Partners was started in India in 2003. And EMA Partners, the way it is structured is globally, we are structured like the big four. Our constitution is quite similar. So we are globally tied together, but at the same time, we are independent in each of the markets we operate. So India was the India firm. The organization was set up in 2003. And the business has been primarily executive search, which is what we call as top of the pyramid, where the focus has been on CEO or CXO hiring, which is typically CEO or CEO minus one in terms of the levels at which we operate, which is so we operate the retained executive search business. Where the client is pretty much committed to work with you on a particular assignment. These are exclusive engagements what we sign with clients for recruiting senior leadership talent for our clients. So in 2003 we set up the company. I mean, if you were to look at the key milestones, so we having started as a new entrant in the market at the time, of course, me and my co-founder, we had about 7 or 8 years of experience in executive search before setting up this company. So we had a head start in terms of clients and references to start the company. So at this time, so we started working with some of these largest business houses in India, the largest banks at that point in time, and that's how we were able to scale the business over the years. And when you look at as of last year, we had actually worked with over 500 plus clients in across various geographies, and these are some of our executive search clients. And if you some of the key milestones I would like you to note is that In 2010, we set up a subsidiary in Singapore and within the global framework of EMA Partners. And 2016, we set up a subsidiary in Dubai as part of our expansion. So these are the two new businesses which we set up. I mean, these are primarily executive search businesses. And so these are all done within the global member firm framework of EMA Partners. So the business, the focus has been at the top at the time of when we listed in January 2025 is that when we went public. The primary focus being the institutionalizing of this entire platform and also providing for capital for future expansion of this business. The with the At the time of listing, if you know about 90% of our business is from the executive search and leadership consulting vertical, and which continues to be a dominant business. But since the time of listing, we also established a brand around the time for there are two segments which we wanted to look at, what we call as the entire white collar hiring pyramid. So we are there, yes, EMA Partners, we are there at what we call it as the tip of the spear. And then we also created a business to focus on the mid to senior level hiring, which is and also the scale business, what we talk about, which is the recruitment process outsourcing business. So the first step, what we did is in the last year, I mean, in the sense post listing, we brought on board a team from one of the other companies leading businesses in this space. We brought on a team. So we've set up the recruitment process outsourcing business, which is branded as James Douglas Global. And we are also in the process of scaling our mid to senior level hiring platform, which is again branded as James Douglas. So the from if you look at the business, starting with as primarily an executive search tip of the spear business, now we actually straddle the entire white collar hiring value chain with the formation of these two new businesses. And in terms of the geographical presence for these businesses, of course, we are going to focus on India being the largest market for us, as well as one of the fastest growing markets internationally. We've also established a subsidiary for James Douglas in the Middle East as well, where we believe there is a big growth opportunity. So these are the markets where we operate. So, Anuj, broad
Thank you.
overview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I think that was a good overview. Let's deep dive a little bit. You mentioned about James Douglas, etc. And so can you actually explain in detail each of your business verticals and services, and also the kind of client profile you cater to there, and what the kind of hiring we do out there to kind of explain the exact service offering?
Yeah. So if you look at EMA Partners, which is the focus is at the senior level executive search. So the typical engagements are recruiting CEOs or board members or direct reportees to the CEOs. So that is where EMA Partners will engage. I mean, these are typical what we call it as retained executive search engagements, right? So where the assigned mandates the for, are exclusive to us, and where the clients will not work with anyone else for hiring a particular position. That's what we call it as exclusive retained engagements. And here, typically the payouts from the client side are made in on defined intervals or on milestones. So typically, when the client will commission a search, one third of the fee is paid, which is the fees paid upfront. A third of the fee is paid when there is a shortlist or there is a timeline defined, and the final payout is it again it's paid out again on a defined timeline or on a milestone depending on the client situation. So broadly, that is retained executive search. And then see, so here through this business we have a very strong network of relationships and connections which are established at the top of the pyramid in every organization. So that really gives us access to senior leadership almost in every leading business in or which operates in the geographies where we are present. So with that access, we said that is where, and all our clients keep coming back to us and saying that there is if you also don't forget that the middle of the pyramid is a big opportunity, and that's where we are looking at growing the middle of the pyramid business, which is the James Douglas professional search business, and where plans are afoot to ramp up the team there, and you will hear more in the coming weeks and months in terms of how we are going to aggressively ramp up that part of the business. Because again, if you know if you've looked at our uh, the prospectus and other documents where we have spoken about the market opportunity there. In the mid to senior segment, there is an opportunity of about, according to Ken Research, in fact, they've said the market size is close to about 10,500, 11,000 crore by 2029. And the good thing is that market is pretty fragmented today. And so we will be one of the few uh, institutional players in the segment, and as James Douglas. So that is where we look to really ramp up that part of our portfolio. And the third part of the portfolio is also the scale portfolio, which we want to build, which is the enterprise recruitment process outsourcing business, which we believe which will also be a scale driver for our platform. So with this, we would have completed the entire suite of services, which starts at the top to the middle to senior level hiring, as well as the entry to mid-level hiring, which happens where there is a big scale opportunity for our business.
Interesting. As you talk about this, there is obviously a bit of a concern that the whole global executive search space is quite fragmented, it's crowded. Can you explain how EMA Partners differentiates itself from other firms and also educate us a little bit more about the industry dynamics of our business segments and the potential target opportunity?
Yeah, good question, Anuj. Basically, if you look at how do we differentiate? So one, I said we've spoken about this in the past. We pride ourselves in the longevity of our consultants and our team. If you look at it, we have a very experienced management team with sectoral expertise. So all our partners, I mean, who run each of these verticals between financial services, technology, telecom, industrial manufacturing, again, is one of our large sectors for us, and healthcare. They've all been with the firm for at least a decade or more. So we have established relationships. We have teams which have been specializing in each of these sectors. So we have a repeat client business of almost close to 65 to 70%, you know, over time. So the clients keep coming back to us, and there is obviously, the companies also go through cycles and so on. There is a typical 30-35% churn of clients which happen, and we keep adding new logos to what we do. And secondly, the other big differentiator is the fact that we have a global network at our disposal. We have 40 global EMA offices through whom we work with in terms of looking at talent internationally. So, we also have deep local market knowledge in each of the markets where we operate. So that gives us access to global pool of talent and potential global clients as well. And then, of course, we spoke about the repeat business. So, we've had clients who've worked with us over the years and continue to work with us. And so that's on executive search. And this is a deep relationship oriented business over time, and where we have a very established brand name, and we are amongst the top players in the country in the executive search space. And that's the client and the brand equity what we have today, which we will be able to leverage, or which we are leveraging to build the other components of our business, be it the James Douglas professional business, which is a mid to senior hiring business, and the James Douglas global business, which is, I mean, these are two nascent businesses. So we would think that, if you just, on a telescopic basis, if you look at, say, 4 to 5 years from now, we envisage where that the other two businesses would be of similar size to executive search business in our overall size and scale.
Understood. Um, Moving on, can you talk a bit about the company's expansion plans? You did mention that we've entered the GCC markets and also Singapore. So what are we looking at in terms of expanding not only our service offerings and maybe any other geographies and other strategies that we have for expansion?
Yeah. So you see, there is a we have an association called the Association of Executive Search Consultants. It's a global association. So the AESC they call it AESC. So AESC had recently conducted a survey of the fastest or hottest markets for recruiting or executive search. And India was the top, and the second was the Middle East, and the third was the Southeast and Far East Asia. So these are the three markets. So the India, of course, we have a very strong presence, and the Middle East we have a growing presence. So in the Middle East, while we are in Dubai, we have a significant presence in Dubai, and we have established a subsidiary for the James Douglas business as well. So which we are looking to grow there significantly. We are also looking at potential markets there to establish the James Douglas business going forward in the GCC and in the larger Middle East region, where we see huge opportunity actually to expand. So that's clearly the case. For the James Douglas global business, given that India is a high volume market, our initial focus is going to be India in terms of our scale, at least for the next 12 to 18 months. But in parallel, we are looking to identify opportunities because we have existing client engagements and relationships in the GCC markets. So we are looking at potential opportunities for hiring at scale opportunities in those markets as well. And we may establish, given going forward, we may establish maybe some sales nodes or sales or some collaborative engagements in other international markets where the clients are going to be, if multinationals, if you're going to engage with them, we will engage with them through a network of our own relationships through EMA partners, or we could establish some collaborative partnerships in other markets, especially given that the GCC sector as such and in India continues to be hot, and those are it's a clear segment which is hiring at scale, and we will look to capitalize on those opportunities because if you look at the our composition of our team in the James Douglas Global Business, we have a team which is deeply experienced in the recruitment process outsourcing space. In fact, our top leader and actually the top three people in the team, they all have over 20 years of experience in the recruitment process outsourcing space.
Okay, interesting. Moving on, maybe I'll take the final question from my side and then start taking questions from the participants. Let's talk about our financial profile. If you can give us a little bit highlights on the financial performance of the company over the last few years. And also, I see that we have one of the best margins or very high margins. So how can you talk a little bit about this as well? And are they sustainable in the long run as well?
Yeah, let me just take this. See, in terms of the revenue growth trend, we believe that executive search business on an organic basis, we can continue to grow between 10 and 15% per annum. And we are also constantly looking to add more capacity in terms of more partners or revenue fee earners, as what we call, as we go forward. So, and in terms of the EBITDA margins, we've been consistently operating anywhere between 18% to 23-24% in terms of our margins. And you're aware that we are absolutely asset light and debt free balance sheet, so which gives us an opportunity to look at potential acquisition opportunities as well in any of our businesses going forward. And in terms of so from the time of going public, if you look at the business profile, it is in the last 6 months we are really looking to diversify our business into new segments. So Now, right now, if you look at it, 90% of the business continues to be in executive search. We have now added two new segments to the business, which is the mid to senior level hiring segment as well as the RPO business. So, which we believe that those two businesses will start gaining in scale going forward in the next 3 to 4 quarters. You will see our business profile will look significantly different from what it is now in terms of the overall composition of revenues, because where today executive search is 90%, but as the other businesses scale in a 3 year time frame, we would think that executive search will be probably 35-40%, and the other 30% each would come from the new businesses as we scale both these businesses.
Sure. Thank you. So let's take some questions from our participants now. Once again, everyone, if you have a question, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Please don't use the hand raise button. And I'll ask these questions on your behalf to the management one by one. So the first question is from Jayesh Bhanushali. He's asking, can you throw some light on how you can turn this into an operating leverage business model? Yeah, he has a bunch of questions, but I'll ask them one by one. So I don't know what he exactly means by operating leverage business model. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, can that be elaborated a bit?
I myself. So Jesh, maybe you want to just elaborate on that. We'll move to his next question. What is the sharing percentage of partners? So I assume it's the commission.
Okay. So sharing percentage of partners, no, it doesn't. There is no straightforward formula on that. It is actually people are compensated on basis of the top line they generate, and there is a
No, so I think I assume he means that what is the sharing percentage? So in terms of when you place somebody, what is your fee
yeah.
based on in their salary, I guess.
Yeah, so the typical fee in this, I don't want to talk about percentages and numbers because this is obviously these are all matters of
Confidential.
confidentiality or what we sign with clients. But typically there is the compensation, there is a percentage of the compensation which is charged as a fee by
As a
executive
fee.
search firms as a fee, and it is
And
actually.
are these, I mean, maybe if we can give some insight, are these usually higher for white collar versus lower kind of management?
The highest will be at the top for CEO, CXO hiring, and
Yeah.
the mid to senior level hiring will have little bit. It will be probably about 20% lesser than
Okay.
than the CXO hiring, and then so on at the scale. Then when you're talking of the at the RPO or when you're hiring at scale, there will be a combination of outcome plus process fee and so on. There are various fee models, but it's a the good thing is that this business has been in existence in India for at least 40, 50 years, and the retained search firms have been in business in India for the last 20 years, 25 years or so. So companies are now, I mean, you don't need to sell this as a concept. It's a very well established fact that companies do retain executive search firms for hiring leadership talent. So the business model is proven and it is scalable. So those are the
So,
big pluses. So we don't need to start with a concept,
sure.
sell, right?
Next question is how is there a percentage of revenue that is being shared with your parent company?
No, there is in this we are like a global partnership model, I said. So there is no parent. So this is a member firm model. We have actually explained this in a lot of detail in our prospectus. So it's a member firm model. So in the sense we the all the EMA Partners offices are actually shareholder firms of EMA Partners International Limited. So there is no revenue share per se. What happens is there is a annual budget for EMA Partners International Limited, so which is shared by all the partner offices or firms. So it is an expense share, and typically, so there isn't. To answer your question, there's no revenue share.
So basically, even if it is, it's extremely minuscule, but it's not.
It's
We don't
it's
share anything.
yeah,
As an expense to us, it's a very small amount.
it is not material actually. Yeah.
Next question is from Manan Shah, is that obviously we've done our IPO recently. We have raised a bunch of cash and now we're sitting on a cash pile of about 100 crores. What is the plan of how to utilize this?
Yeah. So we are actively looking at acquisition opportunities which are in synergy with our business verticals. Our initial focus is on the RPO side of the business, but we are looking at a few opportunities. So we will inform the street or as and when we progress. But we are conscious of the fact that we are sitting on cash. At the same time, there is a sense of responsibility that we have to spend the cash wisely, and that's what. So we are going to be conscious of the fact, but at the same time, we know that no, this is an opportunity for us to scale, and we're looking at very actively looking at opportunities.
So one is inorganic, but obviously you are utilizing a good amount for organic growth also, which is in James Douglas, etc., and hiring your own this thing, right?
In fact, the other thing, yes, Anuj. So the other thing which we are doing is there is also significant amount of resources which are getting committed to organic growth opportunities. And if you also notice, we spoke about it a little bit in our annual report at this time. And so we've also spent some significant resources on building our technology platform called MatchCore, which is now part of our recruitment process outsourcing business. So, which will be an RPO backed with a technology platform. So, the technology platform where we are actually bolting in a lot of AI tools, virtual AI based interviews, and so on and so forth. So, so we are going to be investing going forward on building out the MatchCore platform, so where we see a big opportunity in automating recruitment at scale at that level, and James Douglas Global is going to be deploying the MatchCore platform on all client engagements. So initially it will go as a package with all client engagements, but at some stage we do have an opportunity to see what we could do with the MatchCore at a much larger level.
Sure. And the other thing is that you're also hiring a lot. So I would assume a lot of
We
utilization of this resource will be going for that.
Absolutely. We are also committed to add more partners to our executive search business, which today we believe that we are also in some way our size will be limited if you don't have the right people. And we have committed to add more people to our platform as we go forward. And some part of the resources or proceeds raised from the IPO will also go towards that. We are already on course to execute some of it, and you will hear from us as we go forward in the next quarter or so.
Sure. Next question from Harshit Toshniwal is, what is the plan? Can you give some guidance on the growth for the executive search business vis-a-vis FY25?
The search business we spoke about it, Harshit. We said we will look at 10 to 15% organic growth in the core executive search business. Last year we grew by about 14% in the executive search business. We continue to maintain that momentum, and on the icing on the cake will be the new businesses which we are building, and that will give us big growth momentum, and also it will give us a diversification of revenues, so to say, from one stream to three streams going forward.
Sure. Next question, follow from Manan is, how is the competitive landscape and what I think this question we did in fact cover in our opening statement, so I'll skip that. The next question from Prateek Chaudhary is, what growth do you expect, I think, over the next 3 to 5 years in the executive search? So I would say 10 to 15% in the long term too. Can we continue to expect that?
I think I would say so, because we could because the growth will come from, one is of course the based on current capacity and also potentially future capacity which we will add. And so the executive search business works on a strong recognizable brand, solid track record, what we can showcase to our clients in terms of what has been our engagement, what sort of people we have. Unfortunately, I would you know but for the confidentiality and the NDAs we have signed, otherwise I would have loved to rattle out all the CEOs or CXOs we have hired or board members we have hired for our clients. I would have loved to do that, but you can be assured that we work with some of these largest business houses and industry leaders in the country, in India or in the Middle East or in Singapore to hire some of their top leaders.
Sure. Next question from Nishant Gupta is, given the presence of Naukri, IM jobs, etc., how will we carve our market share out of this for this whole RPO business in the mid to senior level, which with competition also coming from AI in HR?
Yeah, so good question, but actually Naukri and what's the other one you said? Naukri and IM jobs.
IM
These
jobs,
are
etc.
these are candidate marketplaces. So these are not recruiting. Naukri is not a recruiting agency. Naukri is a source for candidates. So we do not necessarily compete with the Naukri or IM jobs. The RP, for instance, the recruitment process outsourcing business is a business where we take over the entire process of recruiting for the company. In the sense, if the company typically has, say, 50 in-house recruiters, those recruiters will be provided by us. So the entire process is outsourced to us. So it's very different. So Naukri is a tool for recruiting. Naukri by itself doesn't recruit. So that's the difference. I hope this is clear.
Yeah. No,
Should I
thanks for
clarify?
that clarification.
Yeah.
No, I think thanks for that clarification. I think it was much required. Moving on, there has been a non-linear growth in top line contraction from March 22nd to March 22 to March 23. Then FY24 was good growth, but then FY25 growth was less. Also, margins declined. So, can you comment on this?
See, one was we were coming out of COVID. We there was stupendous growth. We always, the post-COVID we grew by almost 95%, and we know that it is that sort of growth is not sustainable, and then the industry itself sort of the growth was a bit tempered in the next year, and then we have a direct correlation between our top line and PAT. So as the top line dropped, there was a drop in PAT. So, but it was largely actually the growth, I would say the growth stabilized and we scaled. If you look at it from 21, 22 to 24, 25, and 25, 26, we have grown by almost 4x, in terms of the overall top line of the business. So we have the focus has always been on growing the business and growing our bottom line, and that I would call the drop was more largely about the growth stabilizing rather than a drop. I would say it's and with the last year, of course, I think you asked this question on last year was also in it was almost like no, it was also our IPO year, and a lot of things are happening around us, and but at the same time, we were able to maintain core growth in our core portfolio. In executive search, we still grew about 14% in our core executive search portfolio. So.
Sure. Next question is that from Akshay Jogani is RPO hasn't scaled too well in India and hasn't been very profitable either. What is your sense of the size we can achieve and margins we can get to?
Some of the RPO players have scaled, to your question, to about their business sizes range anywhere between 150 to 250 crores in terms of overall revenues with a fairly decent client spread, from what we understand in terms of mapping the competitive landscape. So we have actually brought on board some of the best people in that space. So so we believe that we have the right tools, plus given the fact that we are also building a differentiating factor in the form of MatchCore, which is our technology platform. So we believe that we are pretty well positioned to scale in that sector. From a margin standpoint, I think we can at scale, we believe we can maintain anywhere between 14 to 19, 19% in terms of overall margins for that business. So on a blended basis between RPO, professional search should have a similar margin profile as executive search. And with executive search operating anywhere between 20 to 24% on a blended basis, I think we should still be able to maintain our margins.
Yeah. Next question from Harsha Gadia is when would our cloud business turn profitable?
R Cloud, see, we are doing a few things in R Cloud. So we, given that the R Cloud entails a significant investment in getting up the marketplace to speed. So we are looking at, as a public company, we are conscious now that you're going to keep asking us questions. If we lose 1 rupee there, we are answerable to our shareholders. So we are looking at reassessing that business model to see how much resources we can commit to scale the business. But what I can assure you is that this year we have already effected a turnaround of that business. And in terms of, we are not last year, in fact, one of those reasons, in fact, we did lose 2 crores on the our cloud business. And that is one of the reasons also there was a P&L shrinkage in the last financial year. So that has been stemmed, and there you will see a turnaround of that platform in this financial year. But to scale this significantly, it will require commitment of significant amount of resources. So we are reassessing the business model to see that how much we could invest given our own P&L framework which we want to build for our businesses.
Sure. Next question is from Sriman Dudoria. What would be the likely size of the inorganic acquisitions that we're looking at, and what kind of financial metrics would you look at the acquired company?
Too early to answer the question, Anuj, but you know that we all know that we are sitting on close to 100 crores of cash. So, we're going to be using our judgment and also take our board's guidance to ensure that we make the right decision there. But one thing we want to ensure is that we are not diluting our margin profile in the quest for top line. So that much I can tell you.
Fair enough. His follow-up question is, what are the key risks for the overall business model of your company?
See, I think like any business, we carry people risk. Even today, manufacturing companies carry a big, significant amount of people risk. We are in the people business, so people risk is one of the significant risks in the. And there is on the upside, there is a proven business model. I know companies have to continue to engage with companies like ours to secure top talent for themselves. So how are we mitigating our people risk is the fact that that is one of the reasons we have providing for ESOPs and opportunities for our people to stay, ensure longevity of their tenure in our business. So that is how we are mitigating that risk. But yes, people risk continues to be our biggest challenge. But of course, there are other factors like geopolitical situations, or those are not under our control. We can only manage what we can manage at our end, but people risk will be our biggest risk for any business and for our business particularly.
So, next question from Sahil is James Douglas a mass market initiative? And what kind of revenue share can we expect for 2 years down the line?
Okay, so I don't want to get into the percentage today, but we do see that that business has significant opportunity to scale, largely because of the fragmented nature of that segment and business. And I also spoke about that that's a 11,000 crore market size opportunity in India by 2029. So you look at our business as three components as EMA Partners in a banking parlance. EMA Partners is like private banking or wealth management at the top. The James Douglas business will be like your mass affluent business, and the James Douglas Global, which we purposely, why we're calling it global is because of the global nature of that business and have an opportunity to take it global much faster than any of our other businesses. That is the RPO business, which we can scale, which is it is like a mass banking platform, so to say. So that is how we are operating across the entire value chain in hiring.
Okay. Next question from Lakshmi Narayan is in the executive search business, how much is repeat business for you?
It's about 65 to 70% is our repeat business. And over the years, we have seen that consistently that we are able to maintain that number, which is
And yeah. And in terms of receivables, what is our receivable cycle like? How many days do we get a month?
typically it's about 85 to 90 days. It's
Okay.
a receivable cycle. Yeah. So
Um, His follow-up questions are: what is your fixed cost in absolute terms for FI? I think this can be in FY25, which is already there in the annual report. In general, what is the fixed cost as a percentage of revenues for you?
You could put it around people cost should typically is in the range between about 45 to 51, 52%.
Okay. Next question is from Srimant. As per the recent disclosures, promoter has been buying shares from the market. What is the thought process, and where do you see the promoter stake in midterm?
No, we don't plan to significantly increase, otherwise we wouldn't have gone public. But it
Yeah.
also just to it's a demonstration of our confidence in terms of our strategy, in terms of where we are going, and it was just a pure demonstration of that fact that we are very sure about the way we are steering the business and the growth prospects for the company.
Sure. Next question from Mohit Motwani. Which sectors are the primary ones for which we do most of the hiring in executive search?
The industrial manufacturing, automotive, financial services. These are some of our large sectors. And life sciences, technology, I did mention technology and GCC is a high growth sector. So actually, to answer your question, I think that is the good thing about our portfolio of clients and business is that we are pretty much equally distributed between all these verticals. So that by itself, we have a natural hedge in terms of risk. If there is one sector isn't doing well, we have something else which picks up and so on. So we've seen of late that we've seen huge amount of activity in the automobile sector, where we've been involved. So the the good thing is, so we are not one sector focused company where if something happens in say banking, then we get impacted. So, but because we are well spread out.
So, his follow-up question is: how many clients do we work with, and is there a concentration of the top 10 clients?
The concentration of the top 10 clients would be fair to look at absolute percentage. No, but coming back in fact, in the last year, we have actually managed to de-risk. So the top client in the last year was about 7 or 8% in terms of numbers, but that has
And
significant
and top 10 would be approximately how much?
about 30%. It's not more than 30%.
And how many clients do we overall work with in the executive search now?
Last year we served around 160 clients.
Okay. And this number is constantly increasing, or?
Yeah. It will
Yeah.
see it actually depends on client activity, but you can take it as an average. You will always see about because one client could be a very small engagement, and there would always be a few clients who would be there would be an increased engagement during any point in time. So that keeps over the years I've seen that somehow these clients balance themselves out nicely because what happens is one client starts engaging with you, you also choke capacity. So then our ability to go and get a new client also gets reduced at that time. So there are various factors which operate in the business, but look, we also like client stickiness because nobody wants to go and sell every time we go out, right? So when there is a proven track record, when no questions asked, we continuously work on engagements. That is always the best scenario for us.
So, and his follow-up is how long are your contracts usually, and are there any escalation clauses in them?
When you say escalation clauses,
In terms of your fees, etc.
No, there is no the contracts are typically there is a 1 year contract which gets renewed for executive search. The professional search, which is the mid to senior level hiring. For the RPO business, those are longer. The sales cycles are longer. The sales cycles are anywhere between 3 to 6 months in recruitment process outsourcing. There, the contract cycles are 3 years, 3 to 5 years, even at times it could even be 5 years. So, that is also, in fact, RPO business is also a sticky business.
Understood. Next question from Aniket Datta is there any unfolding geopolitical tensions affecting the business given the mention of GCC? What's our mitigation strategy if it does?
See, thankfully today we are not so dependent on the GCC side, but from all accounts we've seen, while there is we haven't seen a significant slowdown on the GCC hiring side. There is still companies continue. I mean, and also if 60% of GCCs are from the US or North America, and then you also have European GCs are also ramping up in India. So far we've not seen a big geopolitical downside so far, but look, you never know. I mean, these are things which we'll have to take it, but honestly speaking, yeah, no, not it.
Yeah. Next question from follow-up from Lakshmi Narayan is what percentage of executive search comes from the recruitments where the remuneration of the person is more than a crore per annum?
Our minimum ticket size for executive search is 1.2 crore. All of our search engagements are for such positions.
Okay. A follow-up from him is what made you go public?
See, and then I always ask the question, why not? Because this is a business which needs institutionalization, and clients have often complained about firms are not professional enough, they're not institutional, and so on and so forth. We believe that there is a long-term opportunity to professionalize a business like executive search. And then second, that's why today we are looking at an expanded platform. We're looking at a larger footprint for a business like ours. And third, I think it also now provides internationally, there are two search firms which are listed, and we are the first ones in India to go public. So this gives us an opportunity to expand our business and our footprint internationally. So why not? We have a large firm hailing from this part of the world, and why do we always have firms from America or the US telling us what to do? So here for a change, we are the first ones from this part of the world, and that's, I mean, there are a number of reasons I can list uh, why we went public, but uh, this is the top reasons I would say. And of
Sure.
course, one more point I want to add, Anuj, to this question also, as a listed company, I think it also improves our access to clients. It also increases our ability to attract talent to our platform and provide them a long-term career opportunity and a long-term opportunity to actually, value creation opportunity for everyone, for all our stakeholders.
Got it. Next question from Deepak is the revenue growth trend of about 10 to 15% for executive search business, but including the new businesses, what kind of growth trend can we envisage over the next two to
I'm
three
not
years?
wanting to put a percentage there, but you can see that, I've given you a broad explanation of two new businesses which are, which we have.
So it should be better.
It should be better is my, if you call it a guidance, that is a guidance. I don't want to put a percentage there.
Sure.
But yeah, to put it simply, we were a one engine business. Now we have three engines, you know.
Um, Next question from Anirudh is, given in India, most of the businesses were traditionally family. We are seeing families taking a backseat and letting professionals run the show. Is that one of the growth drivers for us? And what else could help executive search business grow faster?
Absolutely spot on, because there are the family businesses as they grow, and the family businesses also outgrow families, right? So they need professionals to run the business, and as so that is a big growth driver for firms like ours. And the second is that you also look at the IPO rush today. It continues to happen. Companies are professionalizing, their companies are installing leadership teams and so on and so forth. So, and the growth is also not just about Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore. It is also now growing beyond these cities. Now you have an Ahmedabad, which is a significantly large business center. You have Pune, you have Hyderabad. So the opportunity for leadership hiring, or actually hiring in general, is significant. And then most companies, to his question is that most companies, one is, of course, there is you hire no, there is additional hiring which happened, but companies also have a natural churn of 8-10% year on year. So that is also an opportunity for firms like us.
So, next question from Mohit is how to think of the size and growth of the industry that we operate in. The context is that given your scale, shouldn't the revenue growth be even faster if there is a clear right to win?
See, I think the revenue growth, the scale is, of course, through, given that the industry is largely unorganized and privately owned, it is always difficult for research agencies to get hold of the real number. But these are broad estimates. The search market was estimated to be about 7,500 crore in size by 2028-29, and the mid to senior market is estimated to be about 10,500 crore. So we are sitting on an 18,000-19,000 crore opportunity. And as per estimates, we had a 2.6% market share in executive search, according to Ken Research, in the last time. And they also listed us as amongst the being in the top 7 or 8 search firms in the country in India. I'm just taking India as a market today, and I'm not counting for Middle East where we are present and so on. So if you look at it, I think we have an opportunity to increase our market share from 2.6 to 4-5% in line with some of the larger players there in that space. And so that is in executive search. To answer your question, can we grow faster? Yes, I think that opportunity is clearly there. And then the new business which we are building, which is the mid to senior level business, it's all to a virgin growth business for us. So there also we are pretty positive of building a scale business in that space as well.
Great. Next question from Srimant is, can we provide a broad sector-wise breakup of revenue?
Sector-wise breakup of revenue has been
Does
provided.
it even make sense? Because I would assume this would change time to time
It
depending
will
on
change, but
engagements that you have.
yeah, see, broadly, I can give a broad number, Anuj, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
goes between 1 or 2 percentage points here or there. But largely, you can assume that, no, pretty much you can say industrial manufacturing roughly will constitute about 25 to 30%. Banking, financial services is also around the similar percentages in terms of number there. IT and telecom. Again, IT, when I say IT, it's all encompassing. So you will again see that that's about 15-17%. Then consumer will be roughly in the region of about again 14-15% or so. So then when I say industrial manufacturing, you can also add natural resources to that and so on. Manufacturing as a whole also will have healthcare and pharma will get added. So broadly, that will be the mix. You give or take a few percentage points here or there, but
Sure.
that is how the nature of the land will be. The one emerging new business which is starting to grow is also agri, for instance, agri, which is about 1-2%. You will see some of the sectors growing.
So, next question is, who is the market leader? Which can you name a few market leaders in India or our top competitors in our space?
See the 5 large global firms, and we are in the
Can you
top.
name them? I think for the many participants, they may not know these names.
So these are, I mean, we have 2 large globally listed companies, which is Korn Ferry International and Heidrick and Struggles. So these are listed in the US. And then we have a European firm called Egon Zehnder. And then you have a couple of more firms from
And what would be their size in terms of revenue so that people can get maybe a rough estimate of market size
They will
potential?
be typically between 1.5x to 2x of our size.
Okay. Next question from
I'm
Sarthak.
talking about in this market. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
globally. Globally, they are
Yeah,
much
of course,
higher.
of course, of course. They're much larger globally. In next question is Sarthak's asking, and I think we've answered this, but I think this has come a few times, so maybe you can just touch upon it again. There was a dip in EBITDA margins in 2020 FY23 and then in FY25. What are the reasons or the possibilities for which margins can get a hit?
See, as we add costs, see, we are investing, post IPO. So as we bring in new resources, there is a lead time for them to start contributing to our margins. So that is one. And in
By resources, let's just clarify, when we hire a team of professionals
team
who
of
then go
professionals
out
provide,
there and get their potential clients, etc. So
that's
it's
right.
an investment for the first, I would say, 3, 6 months, 1 year, and
Six,
then they
no,
start.
I say that it takes 6 to 9 months. My CFO will say 1 year. So, you need to give time for people to come and settle in and then start delivering. So that is one. And two, also last year, corporate tax was introduced in Dubai. So what used to be zero, now it is 9%. So there was again a margin erosion because of taxation in
Oh,
the
this is on the EBITDA margin side,
only,
so it's
yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
And I think I alluded to this earlier. We had the platform IR Cloud, which again last year we did because of the platform expenses and the scale up expenses. We did end up losing a couple of crores there. So that
yeah.
also had an impact on the overall margins. But otherwise, our core search business still grew 14% last year.
But overall, his follow-up is that over time, there should be an increase in margins. Is that a fair assumption?
I think I would say margins would stabilize. You will not see this little bit of
Volatility.
yeah, volatility. It'll stabilize as we gain scale.
Great. Um, I think we've pretty much run out of time, and I think that was the last question. We've answered all the questions as well. Thank you, participants, for your very good questions, and thank you, Sudarshanji, for very insightful session into your business.
No, thank you.
Thank.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Anuj, for the opportunity. And sometimes some of these questions also give us an opportunity to introspect and think, and
Yeah,
it gives us ideas. So I really appreciate the participants and their questions, and looking forward to more such sessions. Thank you.
great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sudarshan.
Yeah, you're welcome.